What's your experience been in Shanghai? Have you been here before, and how many times?
Oh, I've been here many times. I think my first trip here was 1996. Jin Mao Tower was well out of the ground, but wasn't topped out. I spent a lot of time walking around the old part of the city, Puxi. I actually stayed at, still there, it's the Park Hotel. It was one of the few high-rise towers. It's an old Art Deco building from the 30s on People's Square. And I remember walking around in that part of the city, and there probably wasn't, there weren't too many buildings over 10 or 15 floors. The Portman Tower was there, the Shanghai Center was there. Coming here, it seems like every trip there's something new that you see. And obviously with Shanghai Tower under construction, and seeing, every trip I can see what more they've added to the building. So everybody's watching that tower go up.
Speaking as the chairman of the council, I remember researching tall buildings in the late 1990s, and it seemed like news was so hard to get from China. And now here we are, and we're having a meeting with all of the Chinese architecture professionals here. What does it mean for the council to be in Shanghai?
Right. Well, I think there's no surprise why we're here. The council in selecting Shanghai as the location for our 9th World Congress, there's very little literal reason why. One, approximately half of the buildings in the world over 400 meters are in China, either under construction or standing. The other is there's still a future here, a significant future of tall buildings. And so for us to formally plant our flag here for our 9th World Congress is really the first step for us. Tremendous amount of, in fact, if you look at who's been designing the buildings here from a conceptual and from a technical level, it's been mostly Western firms. The ability for us to continue to, in a more formal way, exchange ideas through the council and through the building industry, the design and building industry here in China is what we look forward to in the years to come. Shanghai's the first of what will be, I think, many conferences that we host here in China.
The two big things on everyone's mind right now, number one is the Shanghai Tower going up across the street that you've already referenced, and the other one is the Broad Group and their plan of building an 838-meter tall building in 90 days or so.
Right.
That's incredible. What comment do you have about that?
Yeah, well, I've spent a lot of time looking at the Broad Group and understanding, first wanting to make sure it's real. Is this something that's for real? And the council's actually been able to spend some time with them in their factories in Changsha, confirming that this is no joke. And obviously the 30-story hotel that they built is real and operational. In fact, we're taking a technical tour there.
And you're staying overnight?
Yeah, in the hotel. There's an aspect of what's happening here in China that is going to change the way we do things around the world. And I think that's clearly one possible place that it can happen. The Chinese have always been known for very efficient manufacturing. And now we're not just talking about widgets and things. We're talking about building components and things that are actually significant in terms of constructing a building of 800 meters is no small feat. So I do think that there's a lot to learn from that, and I honestly see that there are applications outside of China for such technology, and even in places that are developing, countries like Bangladesh and Pakistan, Nigeria, Brazil, places that have tremendous population expansion, but maybe don't have the technical or even the resources that a country like China has. But they do need to go tall. They need to build buildings in cities that are sustainable, that have a certain density to them.
Just because the sheer numbers of population they have to accommodate somewhere.
Correct.
Is this mass production of super tall buildings potentially a solution for them?
It can be. I think it can be. And, as an architect, I'm always incredibly sensitive to the human experience. We don't want just engineered solutions. We all know that the projects were engineered solutions. We know communist housing was in the Eastern Bloc countries were engineered solutions, and they absolutely failed.
On the minds of a lot of people now is, why are we going so tall, and how tall can we go? And what I've learned about it lately is that you're literally taking some of the urban sprawl and you're kind of going up with it, which actually frees up more land, and you're getting more interior space in a controlled environment where that can be a little more sustainable and energy efficient. Is that right? And what are some of the other reasons for going super tall?
Well, I think you've described the headline. I mean, why are cities going tall is precisely, I think it is a sustainable strategy. Less sprawl, more density is definitely a huge part of the sustainable strategy. Interestingly enough, if you look at cities, creativity and innovation typically happens in cities. If you look at how patents and kind of breakthroughs happen, they tend to happen in cities where they can kind of be a little bit of a catalyst and have other repercussions. And the reason is that ideas are typically about people mixing together and exchanging ideas, and cities make that happen. Places like, whether it's China or India or even some of the more developing countries, bringing people together to create better ideas is going to be about their future and their productivity.
We're in an incredible place this week, and thanks for dropping by, because I get the feeling that we're looking at the 21st century and we're kind of looking at the 22nd here too.
Right.
So there's going to be a lot to learn this week.
Yes, I agree.
So Tim, thanks for dropping by.
It's my pleasure.